quiet seaside town, an evil laid to rest centuries ago, has risen. An abandoned fortress deep in the swamp holds a secret that could save the village or destroy it. Now, a band of adventurers sets out to dig up the wounds of the past and bring the light of day to the roots of ruin. This is Tabletop Gold.
And welcome to Tabletop Gold, episode 32. My name is Lars Casteen, joined today and every other day. We don't record every day. It's a weekly recording. You're being silly, listener. Are four of my good friends. Let's say hello to them. Robin Lange is here.
Hello.
David Chernicoff is here, sometimes called the Tin Man.
Yes. Hello. Good evening. Good day.
Our Matt Humphreys is here.
Hey, everybody.
Ooh, little friendly, little low-key vibe, little Brian Wilson kind of thing happening. I like it.
Trying out some new flavors today.
I am excited to see what the remaining flavors might be.
I like mint chocolate chip.
Okay.
Mint chocolate chip.
Noted.
Also, Zoe Chernicoff is here.
Hello, everyone.
Yay, Zoe.
Hey.
Hi, Zoe.
Hey, Zoe.
Hey, Lars.
I have everybody arranged on my Zoom call in a line, in a flat line, and it reminds me, this thing that we're doing right now, of the locker bit on You Can't Do That on Television. Does that ring a bell for any of you, or am I that much older than everybody else here?
I remember You Can't Do That on Television. I remember there were lockers.
Yeah.
And
there's a segment on You Can't Do That on Television where each of the cast members is in a locker. They would pop out of the locker and go like, "Hey, Alanis." And Alanis Morissette would open the locker and be like, "Yes, Alistair." And Alistair would be like, "Aren't you glad I didn't say hello?" And then they would do a knock-knock joke and then
it was like one-off, one-liner bit kind of.
Yes.
I vaguely remember this now.
When I don't know why I've never done this in a Zoom with the horizontal line, but I get that 70s show High in the Basement vibes.
Totally.
Like where you're panning around to everyone.
Yeah,
So.
I do this whenever I'm playing Board Game Arena. I will put the line at the top so I can see the whole screen, and I haven't done that before with our recording sessions before, and I really like it. Thank you for mentioning that, Lars.
Interesting.
I go vertical.
I do vertical too.
Vertical.
I'm on.
Yeah, y'all are vertical
me too.
for me.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
just doing a regular 5-person huddle.
I don't know how you could do a locker room with the configuration that David's suggesting.
Yeah.
So
No, it's more of like an elevator.
it's like an elevator gag where each floor there's one of us and we're like, "Hey, Zoe,"
Hey.
and Zoe's like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "I'm going up to the 5th floor."
100 floors of frights. Not every
David
floor is going to be a winner.
Pumpkins.
Yes, David
Yeah.
Pumpkins.
Right.
Yes.
It's like
Right.
5 floors of frights.
Yeah.
I think that we should replace Zoom with this elaborate elevator bit that anytime any of you has a rules question, I have to wait for 35 seconds to get to you and then answer you.
So even our questions have to be turn-based. We're constantly in initiative order.
Yes.
And someone
right. That
always has to
sounds
make a joke
awful.
about taking the local.
Oh my gosh. It's like the elevator at work. Please
Each time
no.
it hits a new floor, the sound that it makes is just me slating in again.
No. Thumbs down. Do not want.
Clap. Clap.
Well, that's
Fourth
as
floor.
good a cue as any
David,
for us to
Slade.
keep moving.
David.
We're actually going to get straight into the game this week because I don't know if you've been listening to this podcast. I assume you have been. We ended things in a sort of strange place last time around with we're going to level up, and also Trill is dying. So there's like a lot of things to get to. I think we should jump straight into the game. I know it's a little unorthodox, but level up only comes... Yes, please,
very
Robin.
much. So tonight I'm actually recording from my parents' house, and last time I recorded from my parents' house, Haplo died. I would very much like for someone to not die again the second time I'm recording at my parents' house, please. particularly for it to not be my character, please.
We'll see. We'll see. No promises. Listen, if you're enjoying Tabletop Gold, please rate and review us on your podcast app of choice. We're going to do it. We're going to play the game. We're jumping straight in. It's nighttime, and you're on the second level of the ruins beneath Gauntlight, exploring kitchens, pantries, and office rooms. Much of this area has been taken over by a group of Morlocks who worship something called the Ghost Queen, which they venerate by sacrificing prisoners to an idol in the shape of Belcora Harovax. After a number of encounters with these Morlocks, you've brought their leader to his knees in a small throne room. Unfortunately for you, while the Morlock leader has fallen unconscious, so has your friend Trill. There's one thing I want to say before we jump into the action here. And that is, if you listened to last week's episode and said to yourself, wow, mirror image is a great spell, that seems wrong. You're onto something. You've got you're making a compelling argument. Look, a lot of things happened in the recording last week. Among them is that I failed in basically all ways to get the rules for mirror image right. And I'm going to, in my defense, say that it made for a climactic boss encounter. But here's what I screwed up. When you miss, but not critically miss, somebody who has the mirror image spell in place, you blow up one of the images. And I was like, well, that's probably not that big a deal, right? And no, it's a huge deal. Vadim should have blown up 4 images, and he used a hero point to make up for stuff that should have just automatically worked for him. And Mag should have blown up 1 image with a miss. So here's my make good for this. Vadim, because he spent a hero point that he didn't need to, and because he was so heroic in blowing up 4 images, Vadim is going to get 2 hero points to start off this episode.
Hey!
Wow. And Mag is going to get 1 hero point to make up for this. Yeah, because that's, it's messed up. You know, some people would be like, this is how you know I'm a nice person, listener. And keep that in mind the next time something catastrophically horrible happens in this game.
Acceptable.
My feeling about this game is like, it's a game with rules, and rules are cool, and rules matter, and rules make it so that this is a tense, fun, exciting game. And it's a thing that I love about this game versus some other tabletop role-playing games that shall go unnamed, is that the rules, in my opinion, provide an adequate sort of framework for you to enjoy yourself in this game. That stops being true when I ignore the rules and make up my own sort of idea for how it is that things work. So that's something I'm going to try not to do in the future, and I felt bad about you guys wasting resources, but I feel great about how intense that fight was last week, so I'm kind of a genius if you think about it.
That's right.
Well, I had a lot of fun. The more double slices I get to throw, the happier I am.
So let's jump right now, because where we last left off, Trill is unconscious on the floor, potentially bleeding out. She is at dying 1. Vadim is standing a short ways away from her unconscious body. Mag is standing right next to her unconscious body, and Norman is on the far side of the room. There are a few conditions that are going on, so we've got to resolve these things before we jump out of initiative order. Vadim is currently bleeding 2 points of damage from a grim tendrils that was thrown at him that hit him critically. Mag is currently sickened from this exploding grothlet. Norman is currently sickened because there is a magical attack currently affecting his mind. And as soon as he stops that sickness, that magical damage is going to go away. Trill is unconscious and sickened also. people are pretty badly off. Trill is unconscious. She's at 0 hit points. Vadim is only at 9 hit points. Norman's at 16 and Mag is at 22. Everybody is pretty badly beaten up. Where we're going to pick up is in initiative order. Vadim has one more action after the double slice that he used to knock this Morlock leader to the ground. What will Vadim do?
So I guess Vadim is just going to dash over to Trill. He's going to use a free action to drop his weapons and just immediately move to try and get to Trill, staggering as like rivulets of blood run down from his scalp from where a bunch of shallow wounds from the grim tendrils cut him up.
So at the end of his turn, Vadim is going to take 2 points of damage, and I need you to make a recovery check. It's a flat check of a DC 15.
Cool.
As you try to recover from this ongoing damage, from this bleeding that's hitting you.
12.
So Vadim is continuing to bleed, edging closer to unconsciousness himself. It's at this point that we are getting to Trill's turn. Trill is dying. At the start of each of her turns, she's going to make a flat check with a DC equal to 10 plus her current dying value, which is 1. So Trill needs to roll a d20 and beat an 11. If she succeeds, she'll stabilize and will be just unconscious. If she fails, she'll go down to dying 2. If she rolls a 1, she'll go straight to dying 3.
Okay.
Stakes are high.
I'm feeling very anxious about this roll.
Do you want to load the Westport Library
I was
homepage
just
really
going to bring up the Westport Library. You're back at home?
I do believe ties go to the roller, right? That's what we
I don't know
last
if that's
time.
true. I don't know about that. There's a lot of controversy about that. Yes, that's true. Ties do go to the roller. Why on earth are you asking me that question?
Because Trill rolled an 11.
Hey!
Okay.
So Trill stabilizes. Trill is now
Nice.
no longer dying. She is just unconscious. And, well, wait a second. Because she was
Do it to me,
sickened.
Lars!
Obviously, she's also sickened and prone and blind.
So I also have to roll a saving roll for being sickened?
No, in order to get rid of sickened, you have to spend an action to retch. The sickened won't affect your flat
I
check.
can't retch. I'm
I
unconscious.
know. So you're just going to be unconscious and sickened for a while, but you're no longer dying, which I think is a great progress.
Huge upgrade.
Huge upgrade.
Most improved.
It's Mag's turn. What is Mag going to do?
I'm sickened. Do I need to start by retching?
You can.
Okay.
Yes, that's a great place to start.
Okay.
We haven't really dealt with persistent damage in a major way in this game yet, and I think it's worth spelling out how that works. Typically for persistent damage, at the end of your turn, you'll take the persistent damage, then you make a DC 15 flat check to see if you're lucky enough to stop taking that persistent damage. You can spend 2 actions to help your friend or yourself take a recovery check in addition to the one that's going to happen at the end of their turn. However, with the case of bleeding, which is what's happening with Vadim, you need to spend 2 actions to administer first aid, which is a medicine check. And with that medicine check, you have to beat the DC of the effect that it caused that persistent damage. So if Mag wants to spend 2 actions to help Vadim out with his bleeding, Mag will need to make a medicine check and beat a relatively high number.
What is that number? Or, yeah.
I'm happy to tell you because I think I told you. It's essentially the DC of the spellcaster that did the damage, which in this case is 20.
Got it. Well, Mag is trained in medicine, so I have a +4 modifier, but that's still a pretty hefty roll. What happens on a failure or a crit fail?
That's a great question.
I'm imagining a fail might be nothing, but a crit fail might be like, you trip and fall and plunge your hand into the nearest wound. Everything goes to shit.
We shouldn't
Yeah,
forget the time Vadim killed himself.
If you crit fail a first aid attempt and you're trying to stop bleeding, you immediately make them take the damage that they were going to take at the end of their turn.
Okay. And Matt, where are you at hit point wise?
Vadim has 7 hit points left, so he can take like a couple rounds.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
This is not good.
Norman walks over and stabs him.
No!
Oh, Norman, you
He was
prankster.
playing the long game.
So do we stay in initiative until all of those conditions are resolved one way or another?
Because one of
Yeah.
us could still
Yeah.
die.
Got it.
And we can fly through this. Like, if you don't have anything you can do to help people, we'll just say, like, we're bypassing Mag. Does anybody else have anything
Right.
they can do before it comes back around to whoever's turn?
Right. All right. I'll start by retching.
Okay, so this is going to be a fortitude check, and you're trying to beat the DC of the thing that caused your sickness, which is this exploding grothlet. So let's see what happens. Let's retch.
And that's a 20 on the die for a 29. Mag's still raging, feeling herself herself sickened by the entrails of the grothlet that have sprayed all over her upon its death. She pauses for a moment, plants her feet strongly to sort of steel herself to shake off this sickness, and she lets out a mighty bellow. And as she does, all of said entrails just fall directly from her body in a single sheet, and she's just and everything just against the floor, and she's just pristine and clean, and she takes a single breath through her nose. Much better.
It's like when a golden retriever comes in from playing in the mud and shakes,
Right.
and then
That's
it's just
right.
perfectly clean afterwards.
Right. Only if instead of it shaking and then looking like a golden retriever does after that, there's just a smash cut, and it's a different clean golden retriever.
So with that, Mag is no longer sickened, and it has 2 more actions. What do you want to do?
I want to roll some more 20s.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Just have fun rolling dice.
Thank you. I'm going to hold off on helping Vadim. Needing to hit a 16 or higher on this roll seems pretty unlikely. So let's just let him do his own flat checks for a little while.
It's now Norman's turn. Norman has this persistent mental damage, which is caused by the sickened condition. If Norman clears sickened, that mental damage will go away.
All right. Norman, inspired by Mag's retching and prone to feeling a little queasy if he sees someone else throw up, is going to retch. That is a 16 on the die for a 21.
That is enough, as Norman just barely manages. So how does that look, and how relieved are you to not have mental damage happening to you anymore?
Well, he thought someone was coming for his own teeth, which really, pun intended, got in his head. So he has added not quite as complete a pile of, let's call it old crook schnooks onto the floor, but it's not smelling good in there. He's doubled over, hands on his knees, and he looks up and wipes his hand across his mouth, and he says, I think we got to get out of here, but we got to help Vadim and Trill.
Can I just say, I am so sorry to anyone who's listening to this while they are like eating their breakfast in the car on their way to work or something. I am so sorry.
In the ongoing theme that things that happen in this podcast are like weirdly mirrored by things going on in our own life, we just went through a round of David and I didn't actually get the worst fit, but stomach bug in our house, so this feels a little too close to home. But the children both had stomach
Projectile
bugs.
vomit.
That's right.
You know, just use it, Zoe. Just use it.
That's right. Just take it's method acting. Method RP.
I need to know what sickened one feels like.
I could have used rolling a 20 on cleaning Tilden up in that restaurant.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That strikes me as a rolling with a disadvantage sort of situation.
I'm more like rolled a 4.
Well, I think we know what Norman wants to do, and that's do some medicine checks, because what does Norman love more than helping people?
So, administering first aid takes 2 actions, so you can move and get set up to do that on your next turn.
Okay, well then maybe what he does is he walks over next to Vadim and Trill and reaches over and pulls out Trill's wand, which sets him up to do a couple of things next. So he pulls out the soothe wand that Trill has tucked in her belt. He's like, "Come on, Trill, we'll help you. We'll help you."
Now let's just keep moving. The situations that we have to resolve right now are just that Trill is stable but unconscious, and Vadim is bleeding. It is now Vadim's turn.
So Vadim drops to his knees by Trill and quickly checks her pulse at her neck. And finding that she has a pulse, he sort of breathes out and goes, "She's stabilized. It's okay. We have some time." And then he turns to bandage his own wounds, or make an attempt at least.
Oh no, I'm just thinking about the last time.
I know, right? And this is how you got another companion.
Not again! No, the curse of this office.
Amateur medicine.
Taken down
The
by just
curse-
like a trickle of blood coming
Yeah.
out of his forehead.
Yeah.
The curse of the Westport Library.
All right, so let's get that medicine check.
here we go.
2 actions to try to stabilize.
That is a 12, which is
So
going to fail.
that's a failure. Does not give you another attempt. You have one more action.
Do I have anything in my inventory that might help? Yeah, nope. Just gonna keep rolling. End of turn, I will make my attempt to save out.
Okay, so at the end of the turn, you're going to take 2 more points of damage, and let's get that recovery check.
That's a solid 5, so that's another 2
Okay.
points to
Still-
redeem.
Yeah, so the 2 points happen before the recovery check.
Right, right.
It's Trill's
Yes.
turn. Trill's stabilized. See you later, Trill. It's Mag's turn.
Mac has a healing potion. Forgot that last time.
Don't use it.
If I were to administer that to Trill, would that get her back on her feet?
It would put her out of unconsciousness, yes.
Well, but I've got this soothe wand, which will do that, and we don't have to use a potion.
All I need is for someone to wake me up, and then I can actually cast Soothe.
That's true. And we could save the wand.
Well,
But the wand is fine. The
every
wand-
day.
Oh, no, yeah. That's
Yeah.
the wand.
Yeah.
We should
Like,
use the wand.
The wand is reusable.
Yeah.
We just can't overuse it.
So it
Alright.
sounds like maybe Mag doesn't have a ton she wants to do right now.
Nope.
So let's keep on moving. It's
Nope.
now Norman's turn. Norman's
Mag-
holding on to that
Mag will
wand.
start tying up the bad guy. Why not?
Yeah, sounds good.
Norman casts the soothe wand at Trill. Come on, Trill, I got your back. He's shaking. Her back is to him, and he's like rubbing her back.
She gets 7.
Oh wow! That was a new adventure.
I'm so glad you're back.
So Trill is conscious, 7 hit points, wounded 1. The only thing we really need to worry about right now is Vadim.
So Norman still has 2 actions, I believe, because he's only cast, or was casting 2?
Casting is 2.
For God's sake. Well, then he vomits again just for fun.
Okay. It's Vadim's turn. What is Vadim going to do?
Totally unsanitary. Medicine. Oh, 11.
So not quite a critical failure. At the end of your turn, you are going to take 2 points of damage, and you can make a recovery check.
All right. 3 hit points. And I got a 4.
Okay, so Vadim's going to continue bleeding. It is now Trill's turn.
Okay, so the first thing Trill needs to... Do I need to vomit first?
You don't need to, but you can always choose to vomit.
So Trill's...
So
I
true.
will never
There's an
tell you
episode
that you
title.
need to vomit.
So Trill's on the ground. She's woken up. Oh God. So the first thing Trill does is to vomit to try and get rid of the sickness.
Well, if you do
that,
I'm gonna.
Oh, that's a 12.
You got 2 more actions.
And she casts Soothe on Vadim.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
And she hits him for 11 healing points.
Woo!
Hey, that's a bunch.
Thank you,
Mag, on her turn, continues tying up the Morlock. It is now Norman's turn.
Norman is going to try and help Vadim out with a medicine check. I got you, man. I'm on this.
All right, not so much ghost this time.
It's a 16.
So that's a failure. You do not give Vadim the extra check.
Oh, you're all better now, man. You should be good.
Oh, I don't know about that. I do feel better from the sooth.
Is Norman going to do anything else with that last action, or should we keep moving?
He's gonna throw up again.
Great. Vadim, let's
All right.
keep. You're going to be shocked at how fast we're going to play through these medicine checks now.
15 medicine check. Let's
No.
try the recovery save.
Okay, at the end of your turn, you're going to take 2 more points of damage and make that recovery check.
Thank God for Trill, because we're down to 12.
yeah, totally.
Yeah, seriously. Because this would have knocked me down to 1 hit point. Critical failure.
A critical failure.
Yeah, the gentleman's critical failure.
So Vadim continues to bleed. Mag's doing stuff. Norman, do you want to make a medicine check?
Boy, do
Yeah.
I.
Do it.
13.
No. Vadim.
Gotcha, man. You're getting better every time.
His medicine check was a 15, so he doesn't get an additional one. And let's see. Come on. Papa needs a new pair of 11. A new pair of desperate
Okay.
straights.
Who's making the next first aid check?
Norman is,
What do you
Wait.
got?
at long last, a 21.
Hey.
21 is going to enable Vadim to make a recovery check now.
Woo! Let's give that a shot. 10.
Okay, good. On Vadim's turn, you want to make another medicine check?
16. Ugh.
Okay, at the end of his turn, Vadim is going to take 2 points of damage. And what's going on with your recovery check?
11.
Okay, let's get another medicine check from whoever's doing first aid as we enter round 12.
Norman rolls a 7.
Okay, that
This
doesn't
is
work.
a fun hobby. This
Okay,
is my
Vadim,
hobby.
medicine check. Here we go. Round 12. What's happening with Vadim on round 12?
all right, let's
medicine
find
check.
Hobby.
23 finally on the medicine check.
Okay,
So
23 on the medicine check. You get to make a recovery check now.
12. Ugh.
At the end of your turn, you'll take 2 more points of damage and make a recovery check, please.
All right, 6 hit points. And 20. Finally.
Okay.
For God's
And the
sake.
bleeding finally stops
Jesus.
as
feel a bit
the 4 of you
woozy.
are now out of this encounter for the first time in, let's call it 3 episodes.
150 episodes.
Let's call it because it is.
But we haven't been
Jesus.
out of an encounter in 30 years.
It stops the bleeding for Vadim and also for our show.
And Trill vomits again.
Okay, good. We got the vomit going. I think we're all done. It's at this point, as our heroes are going to spend the next hour or so patching up their wounds, that I think it would be a great time for us to step out of the continuity. Here's what's happening. I'm Rod Serling, and I'm stepping in front of the action. I'm like, and this is how somebody nearly bleeds to death. And then we pull back even further, and here are the 5 of us sitting on Zoom talking about our level 3 level up picks.
Woo!
As our heroes in the background spend an hour patching up their
Oh my
wounds and getting
gosh.
ready to continue their adventure.
I can barely wrap my brain around level 3 now after just like watching that shit show that just happened on the floor there.
We vomited out our level 2 selves, and so our level 3 selves have room to grow.
It's like, so
That's
we like
beautiful.
emerged from the cocoon like some horrifying 80s weird body horror movie.
Yeah, like as
Yeah.
we're wiping off all of the disgusting grothlet stuff and like treating our wounds and gently tidying up our own vomit, we also feel ourselves getting better at stuff.
Level 3 Trill just crawled out of the skin of level 2 Trill like some weird Jeff Goldblum.
What if Jeff was one of us?
Now that's a song I like. I do want to know what it would be like. I went to a play once, and I was like a theater in the round thing, and Jeff Goldblum was sitting on the opposite side of the play from me.
Did you spend more time watching his reaction than the play?
I was just looking at old Jeff over there. It was amazing. He, I think, understood the play in a way that I did not.
Well, he wasn't as distracted, I guess, watching you
No.
take it.
Yeah.
Take it
Am I
in.
allowed to ask what play? What play was this?
Who fucking knows what play
I
it was?
really
It was
want it
some
to be.
play.
I'm trying to do, like. I want it to be. I want it to be Wicked.
No.
In the
No.
round.
In the round.
And Jeff Goldblum just got it.
It's one of those plays where it's like there's a set that's a kitchen and there's like a kid who's got problems and the mom, nobody knows what she's going through and the dad is angry and there's like a boyfriend and he's cooler than you think he is and they yell at each other about like, my family is all fucked up. And then the play ends, and you wonder where Jeff Goldblum goes at the end of the evening, and that's the theatrical experience.
Oh, so Our Town.
I don't know. I've seen so many. My mother is a big fan of plays. I have seen so many plays that's just like, oh, that's like somebody I recognize from a TV show yelling over a counter for 3 hours. Can you imagine?
Jeff
Okay.
Goldblum can.
Jeff Goldblum can, and it's possible he saw something in this performance that
WWJGD.
I did not. Well, what he would do is he would pay attention to the play.
Yeah.
But let's pay attention to this. It's level 3.
We leveled up. Yay.
Hey.
We did level up.
Yeah.
Level 3 is a sort of interesting level in this game because power kind of ticks up a little bit, but we don't get class feats. There aren't a lot of choices to be made at level 3 for most characters, with the exception of spellcasters. So let's, just for funsies, leave Trill for last to build anticipation for what spells did Trill learn this level. Mag, David, what did Mag get for level 3? How are you feeling about the level 3 options for Mag, and what'd you take? Feel free not to divulge things if you want to keep them secret for the listener, but go ahead and tell the story of level 3.
Oh
please.
ho! Well, the biggest story of level 3 was actually not a choice that I made. It was just what happens to the character as a result of leveling up, which is that Mag is now sits at a max HP of 56. Yeah,
That's huge.
It's such a big number.
it's such a big
It's
number.
wild.
It's
Only at level 4, though. That's amazing.
It's nuts. I mean, at level 1 she had 22, and she jumped up to 30. It was either 34 or 36.
I think it was 40.
At level 2, was it 40? Maybe it was 40.
I don't know.
And that felt enormous. This just feels like, oh, I have like 2 characters stacked on top of one another.
Yeah.
So that's pretty pleasing because she has ended up tanking a lot, and now I feel like she can really take some punishment.
She gets hit a lot.
I had a skill increase. I used it on surprise, athletics. The main reason for that was that at L2 I took assurance in athletics. So with my current character composition, I can now, when I use assurance in athletics, I can guarantee myself a 17, which I think should be good enough to do some potential tripping and grabbing when we're in combat, in addition to whatever might be happening outside of combat that might require athletics.
Yeah, there's a lot of like walls have flat levels, so Mag is pretty much able to just automatically start climbing walls at a certain point.
Yes,
Which is
exactly. Which is
Cool.
that much was part of the motivation, but also the fact that it might also have some application in initiative. And then I got a general feat, and I took Die Hard. So Mag is now has to be at dying 5 in order to fully perish. So
Harder to
that's
kill.
harder to hit, or I guess same easy to hit, but can take a lot of punishment and then harder
Yeah.
to kill.
Yeah,
Nice.
sounds good.
Yes.
Let's go around the
Barbarian
circle.
stuff.
Zoe, what did you get this level?
So I think some of them, true to Norman's form, we're going to keep tucked away. Because Norman is a rogue, he has gained the deny advantage ability,
Right.
which just means that anyone his level or lower who tries to sneak up on him or get him flat-footed through flanking can't do that. So that's a fun little... You're about to tell me something. What disappointment am I about to face?
I will forget that, and I need you to keep me honest, please.
Okay. Norman gets a skill enhancement, which I'm happy to tell everyone is he's boosting his diplomacy. Then he is also getting a skill feat and a general feat, but I think we're about to see both of those, or the general feat may take a little while. I think we're going to see those unfold in a way that will be more fun for everyone to tune into.
All right.
Fair enough. And what's the thinking behind the diplomacy? Like how is Norman's diplomacy developing? Like what is it that's happening in Norman's life that's pushing his diplomacy up?
Sure. So I feel like, I mean, rogues, for folks who are in the know, you get a boost to your skills every level. So as time goes on, Norman and or AO are going to get better and better at a bunch of things. They're going to be really good at a bunch of stuff. His first boost was to deception. Obviously, he's out there lying through his teeth most of the time. But I feel like before Norman gets good at any specific kind of knowledge, he's figuring out how to use his mind to get people to do what he wants. And he has this sort of like honest versus lying scale that he weighs every day. Froum can now, every morning, he can pick, among other things to have Froum do, to either boost his deception or boost his diplomacy, but he sort of has to go into a day deciding. And I like this idea that he has to go in being like, today I'm going to try and work with people, or today I'm going to fucking lie to everyone I meet and see if I can get that to work out for me. And then like use Froum, if that's what he's picked Froum to do. So, I mean, I think one, he likes using his words to get what he wants, and having both of those skills is useful. And two, it creates this sort of like, am I being honest or am I lying dichotomy for him.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So every day it's like your familiar, your magical tooth,
glowing
Froum,
tooth. Yeah.
glowing tooth could push you in one direction or the other. It's interesting. We'll see how that pays off.
We will.
Next up is Vadim. Armet, what did you take for level up? What'd you got?
So I think one of the big exciting things that a champion gets at level 3 is I got to choose between my sort of spirit ally. And so I picked the blade ally. So a
Shocking.
divine. Yeah, I mean,
Shocking
who would have
revelation.
thought? Yeah. I was really pulling for the steed ally. I just want to, ride
for
into
those
the
of you-
We need a
dungeon.
horse in this party. We've always said, where's the
Yeah.
horse?
And my
I
voice is getting
don't
a little hoarse.
understand
Hey!
why there is so much horse stuff in these games. Like, how
People
are you
like
meant
horses.
to? It's not a judgment of the horse. It's just like, it's so situational. Could you imagine if Armat every time is like, well, I'm going to leave my horse up at the top of the dungeon and
But I was just thinking about the stairs, right? It becomes this like 40-minute ordeal for us to like walk
Wow,
this
fantastic.
skittish horse down the
Like,
stairs.
You know,
Good point,
maybe
good point.
if you're out in the Lange
Come on.
expanse, you might need a horse to travel a lot more. It just doesn't make sense in a dungeon crawler.
True. That's absolutely right. But there's nothing barring him from making that choice. So if he wanted to make a horse all of our listeners' problems, that is certainly something he could do.
Just you wait till level 10 when I can get the second ally.
I head back up to the surface to feed my horse again.
So Blade Ally, how does that work? What does that do?
So basically, it's sort of like From. Every morning during my daily preparations, I get to, a choice of either a Ghost Touch rune, a Disrupting rune, or a returning. There might be one more that I'm potentially
Shifting is the last
shifting.
one.
Yes, thank you. Or a shifting rune, and I can imbue one of my weapons with this blade spirit. Or blade ally that then gives that weapon the effect of that rune, regardless of whether or not it has the rune.
Ooh.
Yeah, and Disrupting
fair.
does positive damage to undead. Ghost Touch lets you touch incorporeal creatures with it. Return means that you throw it and it immediately reappears back in your hand. And Shifting means that it can change into different weapons of the same number of hands that you can use. So it can shift from a warhammer to a longsword to a whatever else.
Oh.
So
Pretty good.
Well,
Pretty awesome, but I
pretty
won't get-
sexy.
yeah, Pharasma kind of likes Vadim at this point.
Pretty into him.
Yeah, it's just like it's no longer complicated. It's just like, yeah, that dude's all right.
They're talking. They're talking.
He's no
sounds
longer
somewhat
left
complicated.
on red. I don't know how things work anymore. But
I thought it was left on read, to be honest. I didn't know that it was the past tense at all.
Red, yeah. It has
Yeah.
been red.
It has been read.
Yeah.
You know what else has been read is the rest of Vadim's level up choices. What do you got?
Okay, so quickly, I'm doing one of my favorite things for the human ancestry, which is I take Ancestral Paragon as a general feat at level 3. I then use it to take Natural Ambition, which is a level 1 human ancestry feat. And then I take Deity's Domain, and I am taking Pharasma's Domain of Knowledge. So in my mind, Pharasma is pleased with Vadim for having defeated the Shadow and has suddenly granted him this sort of expanded capacity of being able to tap into her like sort of eternal wisdom. So he now has the focus spell Scholarly Recollection, which allows him to get it advantage on a recall knowledge check for a focus point, which is pretty dope.
Pretty cool. That means you roll 2 d20s and you take the highest one of the two.
Exactly.
Which is pretty good.
And then I bumped medicine
Medicine up to expert. Nice.
Yeah, which it clearly was working out for me during that bleeding section.
Can't wait to see how dead you would have been if you had not just at that one moment chosen to boost your medicine checks by 2. We would still be rolling. Everybody would have stopped listening to the show by now. Speaking of showstoppers, let's get to Trill with her picks.
Ayo.
Trill's got level 2 spell slots now.
Yeah.
In addition to a bunch of other stuff. So what did you take, Robin?
Well, first off, so Trill as a gnome bard starts off with lightning reflexes, which is kind of cool. That's just something she gets. Lightning reflexes are lightning fast. Proficiency rank and reflex saves increases to expert. Love being expert in things.
So Trill's got expert in every one of her saves now.
Yeah. All my saves are expert, and also for her skill increase, she's now officially an expert in performance. Which kind of makes sense.
That fits.
Why wouldn't I have done that? For her general feat, she went ahead and took incredible initiative so that she can try and get in there faster and properly buff her compatriots here.
So that's just a flat bonus to initiative checks.
Yeah.
So Trill is more likely to go first.
Yeah, that's the hope. That's the goal. We'll see how that works out. And as far as spells go, Trill finally, I've realized, hey, magic missile. Let's make that one of Trill's spells rather than hunting for, having to go back and get scrolls constantly. So Trill officially has magic missile as a spell, but I put it in at level 2. So she can kind of cast level 2 if she wants. But Trill also gets signature spells now that she's level 3. So magic missile is also one of Trill's signature spells.
Which means that she can cast it using any level slot that she has.
Exactly.
Nice.
And
Cool.
She also took Fairy Fire, which is a spell that allows her to deal with hard-to-see enemies and invisible enemies, concealed enemies. It's one of the only... Magic Missile and Fairy Fire are also 2 of the only spells that wisps are vulnerable to. Considering Trill's whole backstory and why she stuck around Otari is a fear of wisps, and that she's so scared of them that rather than running away, her fear has actually emboldened her to warn people about wisps, and she wants to do away with wisps. Her fear of wisps has made her want to fight them.
I love it. I love that Trill is both like this like great support character, but also is becoming a specialist in dismantling this one specific enemy.
Which I'm sure you're also like, guess what, Robin? Trill, these are not going to be around for much longer in the storyline. That's going to make me
It's too
so
bad
mad.
you fought the only wisp so far.
Yeah. I'm sure that's going to end up happening, and we're real mad.
Really too bad.
And the other signature spell that I'm taking at level 1 is Soothe. Because I figure as Soothe gets, as I use Soothe on higher levels, that's going to be super helpful as well. And then I also am retraining. So Trill is retraining her dancing lights and replacing it with straight up light. So
Got it.
Trill will now be the lighter of darkness.
Thank you, Trill.
Somebody had to do it.
Yeah, so that's all of that's Trill's level up. Yay,
Great.
level 3.
Well, we did it. Now Rod Serling, aka me. This is a weird way of talking about myself.
It's the only
I'm-
way, though, when you think about it.
Yeah, it's the only way that I want to from now on.
Right,
You,
it's the only
Mr.
good
Messy
way.
Board?
This all checks out.
So we're going to push back into the action an hour later. It's right around 8:15 in the evening. And the party, all four of you have taken the time to heal your wounds, patch everything up. Trill is no longer wounded. Vadim is no longer bleeding. And the four of you are standing in this makeshift throne room, where you see this throne that the Morlock leader had built out of like sofa cushions and things like that. The Morlock leader is currently tied up in the corner of the room, looking very convincingly unconscious. And I want to know what you guys want to do. What's happening next? Where are you going? What are you doing?
I will say while everyone's deciding which we should talk about, Norman is over like scouting through these couch cushions to see if this king has left anything or that's happened in the hour. Like, is there anything of value in this room?
Yeah, so Norman spent some time searching around and recovers nothing.
Great. Perfect.
Well, so it seems to me that we already know from a previous encounter that we have Joffrey's body that we want to take back to town at the end of today, whenever that is, and it is getting late. But it seems to me the first order of business is like, what do we intend to do with this incapacitated Morlock ruler? And do we want to do it here or do we want to do it here or in town?
Yeah, there are two. Yeah, so there's the two things that we want to bring the body back to give him a proper burial.
Right.
And we want to, the Morlock leader, if we take him to, I can't remember, who knows Undercommon? And I mean, obviously the twins know Undercommon. So if we bring them both back to the twins.
Norman wants to bring the Morlock King back to the twins.
Yeah. I think Trill wants to do this as well.
Mag wants to get information from the Morlock King and is very open to suggestion about how exactly to do that. So if that's where Norman and Trill are at, Mag would be interested and would happily, as is her favorite pastime,
put him in her pouch,
carry a bunch of bodies back from this tower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Armat?
I mean, I guess my question is, are we thinking we head back now, or do we want to keep exploring for a little bit?
Trill only has a single spell slot left, because until I have a night's rest, I can't access any of my
stuff.
level 3 spells.
Right.
I mean, there's a handful of things here in the dungeon that maybe we could do, or I can think of at least one thing that Mag's interested in that could be done on the way out.
What's that? Hit us up.
The giant siege weapon that we found. There was like a ballista or some sort of siege weapon. Did it seem like someone's going to use it on Otari before we head back to town? But neither of us involves opening up another door and potentially fighting anything. They're just going back and cleaning up some business. So that was the only other thought I've had so far. It's also nighttime in the tower, and stuff may get a little cray after hours around here.
But we don't know that.
We don't know that. No.
Yeah,
we don't know
that's merely a hypothesis.
Well, I feel like we're either continuing to explore with this guy's body sort of schlepped behind us for as long as we can stand, or we're saying let's clear out. I think I feel like we need to decide one of those two.
We have two bodies to carry. I think we
should clear out.
But Joffrey's not going anywhere for now. He'll be there. I'm sorry. I know. I want to take him home too, but he'll be there.
But
when
his
we go
body's
back.
going to get harder and harder to carry the more he decomposes.
Yeah, but it's, the way we're playing, it's been the same day for an eternity, so he's not.
Plus, he has Mag's bedroll on him, so does that slow down decomposition? What are the decomp rules, Lars?
Also,
Very
we're the
complicated.
party who've been flinging corpses. Are we going to let a little decomp slow us down here?
How does Vadim feel about that, Armat?
Decomposition, I think, a natural process, inevitable. Much
Pharasma's
like
fine with
the
that.
Pharasma herself.
Okay, so what are you guys going to do?
So Trill looks around. She says, okay. Guys, I need to go to sleep. I need to go back to town. I need to go back to my room at the inn, and I need a night's sleep. And we gotta bring this asshole back to the.
They're not triplets anymore. They're just twins.
Well, no, they are triplets because Beffrey is the triplet.
Well, quadruplets? Triplet? But is she a triplet or just their sister?
Whatever they
I
are, they're
don't even
incroyable.
understand. Incroyable. But we need to bring him back to.
Mag, pick him up. We'll talk to him when we get him back to town. He shouldn't be allowed to stay in his element.
We need to bring this asshole back. Because they speak Undercommon.
Undercommon, that's right, says Norman, leafing through his dictionary again.
Yang yang bonabo.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, good night.
And hearing Norman order her to do anything really, Mag whips her head around in Norman's direction and says, "Don't tell me what to do." And then she picks up the body.
So Mag has got the body of this Morlock leader with these robes and this long white hair sort of draped over her shoulder. You notice immediately that the body of this Morlock doesn't have the proportions of any person that you've ever picked up. The elongated arms, long legs. And to Mag, this is a relatively easy job to carry this creature with you, although it would be very easy for Mag to drop this creature should she need to at a moment's notice.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
So it's sort of like putting on another backpack, like more or less.
Yeah.
Okay. Just like a
weird,
really ungainly one.
gangly backpack.
Cool.
Yeah, it's like an evil backpack.
A ganglier version of Trill.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, let's go get Joffrey, Norman says, motioning up the thin tunnel they came down to get to the Morlock King.
Meanwhile, Vadim has just finished adjusting his armor and like testing the weight of his weapons and looks around. That's it? We're going? Well, I just got the blood flowing, eh?
We'll be back, man. We'll be back.
All right, lead the way.
So the four of you, with the unconscious body of this Morlock, push through this small tunnel leading off to the north, weaving your way between these wrecked boats that were on this strange landing. You head down the hallway past that strange magical portal/kill box room, through the pantry, and then find yourselves in the would-be temple to the Ghost Queen, where you find the body of Joffrey.
Mag, do you... Well, I don't want to tell you what to do, but I think that the Leon Croyab triplet would be very grateful if... Can you lift him too?
Maybe Vadim can carry one of the... Maybe Vadim can carry which one's lighter?
Absolutely.
Can Mag carry both bodies,
Mag
or
can
will
carry
that
both.
slow us down?
I'll ask you to make an athletics check to carry both of them with you.
Will 17 assurance do it?
I think just barely not. I mean, kind of using like flat DCs.
Yeah.
There are these like flat DCs that you can use that are like that tell you the typical DC of a trained thing or an expert thing. I kind of feel as though this would require an expert to do effectively, to carry two different bodies of two substantially different sizes. So I'm looking for a DC 20.
Okay, so an athletics check for that.
Yeah.
All right.
And as Mag is doing this, Norman wants to try, I don't know if this is thievery or deception, to make sure that something falls off of the body that he's going to need to go back for. An arm, a finger from the prosthetic, a shirt, a belt, something of value.
Norman!
So if Norman, for instance, the prosthetic that was on Joffrey is left at the base of this grotesque bone statue showing the Ghost Queen, this image of Belcora, it seems like it would be relatively attainable to convince people to forget that.
Okay, that's what he's going for then. There's the bedroll around this body. Mag has a Morlock over her shoulder who's super gangly, and his little cold fingers are trailing and making scritchy noises on the stone. And as Vadim and Mag are trying to figure out who will lift this thing up, Norman just sort of slowly backs into the corner by this bone thing and uses the heel of his boot to kind of make sure that the prosthetic arm is further underneath where it's in the shadows and can't be seen.
So Trill sees that and raises an eyebrow and just kind of smacks her forehead and just says very quietly to herself,
Oh, Norman, for Pete's sake.
Trill, give me a minute. I think there's something in those sarcophagi, and if you'll just give me a second, I think I can figure out what it is.
Well, as this exchange is occurring, Mag has rolled a 23 on her athletics check.
So Mag is able to heave and get both Joffrey's deceased body and this Morlock leader's unconscious and restrained body, one over each shoulder.
And she turns back and says, all right, ready to go when you are.
Yeah, let's
good
go.
Work.
So this room, you have the door that you came in through, and there's a door leading off to the north back into the crypt, and there are double doors leading off to the east.
Well, yeah, I think the fastest way back up is out to the double doors to the east into this sort of larger hallway, and then to the north of them, maybe through one secret door, but to the north of there's a staircase up that leads back to the side of the lighthouse at level 1. So I think we just go through the double doors and head on out and up.
And as they're rounding the corner, somewhere on their way up the stairs, Norman goes, "Oh my gosh, his arm! We're gonna want to bring him back whole to his family. Give me just a second. You guys go on ahead. I'll be right behind you."
So we're gonna pick up Norman's side of this story first.
Trill kind of pushed him forward. She's like,
Let's keep going. It's gotta be heavy. God, Mag, you're so strong. You're so brave, Mag. Let's keep going.
So Norman makes a turn into this crypt. And so this is this dark 20-foot long hallway that has these 3 alcoves where there's a sarcophagus in each of these alcoves on each side of the hallway. There are 6 total sarcophagi. You don't see any sign of the battle that you had in here because the shadow, as you destroyed it, leaves nothing behind. There's not a body in here or anything like that. And what would Norman like to do?
He's gonna check each of the sarcophagi.
I'm going to do a perception check for Norman to see if he finds anything. So Norman pushes from sarcophagus to sarcophagus to sarcophagus, looking in each one of these. And as he looks inside, the 6th of these sarcophagi, finding nothing, just bleached bones, finding nothing of any value, he hears a scream coming from around the corner. And we're now going to pick up with what is going on with Mag, Trill, and Vadim as they push through these double doors at the beginning of this moment in time when Norman starts searching this sarcophagus. And as they push through these double doors, they see a creature on its hands and knees on the hallway in front of them. This creature is singing a disturbing song to itself in small bursts, taking a break every few seconds. It's in the shadow, though it's a little tough to see.
Mag is going to, as she hears something in front of her, she's immediately wary and very aware that she's holding 2 bodies and not ready to take on anything unexpected. So she's going to gingerly, so as not to alarm any adversary or hurt either of the bodies she's holding, she's going to aim to gingerly place both of those bodies on the ground at her or like walk into the same room as this noise. Well, I guess if she's not in it already, she'd put the bodies down where she is and then try to move slowly forward toward the new noise that she hears.
As Mag approaches a little bit closer, you see that this creature is a small humanoid creature about 2.5 feet tall, with the wings, eyes, and lower extremities of a housefly. Its torso is pudgy and hairless, like a baby. And as you get closer to it, you see that as it stops making this singing noise to itself, it's opening its mouth and using its tongue to lick the floor that it is on all fours above, shuddering to itself as it does so.
Is it eating the corpses of the Morlocks?
You don't get the impression that it's eating the corpses of the Morlocks, but you do see that the corpses of the Morlocks have all been pulled to a corner of the room by somebody. So this creature is licking the floor. You hear like a...
Trill's squinting and trying to identify what on earth she's seeing. Like, she gets that it looks like a human fly, like a Jeff Goldblum movie, but she's still trying to like look at this, just thinking like, what is that?
This creature takes a break from licking the floor and singing a song to itself, and it turns around and looks at you quizzically.
Hello?
What? Oh, who are you? Damn it, dude. This gig just keeps getting worse. Get out of here.
I understand you. Oh, that's great. Hey, do you like music?
And as you say that, they fly towards you in a rage, just going like,
Oh, just fucking get out of here, dude.
What?
as Trill screams, what? Norman hears the scream, what? And the timelines converge, and we will pick up from there.
But I just wanted to play you a song, you fucking asshole!
Get out of here. You're not supposed to be here, bro.
I love this character.
And we'll pick up from there next time.
Oh, what a douchebag!
The Roots of Ruin is a Tabletop Gold production produced under the Paizo Incorporated Community Use Policy. The Roots of Ruin uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's Community Use Policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Paizo does not recognize, endorse, or sponsor this project in any way. Original characters and content are the property of Tabletop Gold. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. We at Tabletop Gold would love to hear from you. Email us at letters@tabletopgold.com and find all our social links at tabletopgold.com.